Founded in the 1930s, the Tsukiji fish market is one of the most bustling sites in Tokyo, serving some of the most fresh seafood and sushi served by down-to-earth hole-in-the-walls that make it very accessible to tourists. Today I'm going to show you the best Toro nigiri sushi, tuna maki, and Tamago-yaki with an honest review of some other shops. Please stay tuned until the end and don't forget to subscribe. It was an amazingly refreshing morning in Ginza. I stayed at the Intergate Hotel in Kyobashi, which was about a 20-minute walk to the Tsukiji outer market. Currently on my way to the Tsukiji fish market for some good quality sushi breakfast. On your way, you can encounter the Kabukiza Tower, a huge theater originating from the early 1900s during the Meiji era, showcasing some of the classic Japanese kabuki dramas. As a tourist, it's always interesting to see the daily lives of Tokyo citizens going to work in the morning. So I finally arrived. The Tsukiji market is a whole rectangular section with each side being a couple blocks. I recommend going to the main street that borders the outer market to the left and the inner market to your right. The inner market has more wholesale and businesses, but a lot of them moved to the Toyosu market. A block down in the outer market, my first stop is the Maguroya Kurogin, which means black diamond, a nickname for the Oma Pacific bluefin tuna that this store serves. Coming from the Tsugaru Strait between the Honshu main island and the Hokkaido island, the Oma tuna is known for some of the best quality and size. They serve all parts of a bluefin tuna, the akami, and of course the chutoro, otoro, and kamatoro. They serve in either nigiri or sashimi, and it was just pure beauty. Look at all the color spectrum from light pink all the way to the akami red. The most important is that their sushi is fresh. There's a long line of customers, but also a lot of employees busily slicing the sashimi with a steady supply of tunas. While they have a lot of items on their menu, my strongest recommendation is the Sanshu Toro Nigiri set, which serves 2 nigiri pieces of kamatoro, otoro, and jutoro, which are honestly the best combination you can get. Here, you're starting from chutoro on the left, then otoro, then kamatoro. This was 3,400 yen, which is about $30 to $40, which was definitely worth it for me. There's a bunch of standing tables that you can grab for a quick meal. You might have to share the table with another solo customer if you are also by yourself. Starting with the chutoro, which has a little bit more of a red. Not as fatty as the others, but clearly has a great mix of Toro and akami taste. Then I'm trying the otoro. And kamatoro, which is the best type of toro located near the head that you can get. The marbling was just perfect. Sometimes toro can be a little bit too greasy, but the kamatoro and the otoro were both, they just melted, nothing too heavy. It was one of the best toro nigiri I've had, and I strongly recommend this place. Next up is the Tsukiji Unagi Shokudo, which specializes in grilled eel in special sauce. The aromatic scent of the charcoal grilled unagi just stopped me. Because I wanted to try a lot in the market, I kept my portion here to some skewers. I got the classic unagi and one hotate scallops and one skewer of eel liver. The 3 skewers cost 1,000 yen. The skewers are obviously pre-cooked and they just briefly re-grill it upon order. It was actually a pretty good portion. I started off with the unagi, which is on the chewy side. I like the charcoal scent. Then the scallops, which for me was a little dry. And the liver, which had a very interesting scent. It was a decent value for cost. Looking back, I think these skewers need some beer to go with it. And also, just the way they pre-grill it and re-grill it makes things a little dry. I wonder if I have to go back, I'll try a unagi bento with more like whole grilled eel or fresh grill over rice. My next stop is not a seafood place actually, but a hole in the wall that serves gyudon and hormondon. Hormon being small intestines, large intestines, and lungs. For whatever reason, this place always has a really long line and has caught my attention, so I really wanted to visit this time. You can see from their handwritten menu, this is a really classic place. I ordered the gyudon and took a seat at the small countertop next to the cashier. There's also a bunch of standing tabletops. This big melting pot is the hormon, and I think they do slow cooking of all the different beef intestines and lungs. And that might have been one mistake I made. I really want to try that instead of this gyudon, because gyudon is fairly common and I rarely make mistakes with ordering, but yeah, this happened. But so I just had to enjoy the gyudon, which I'll say was actually mediocre. It certainly was not bad. First of all, I just wish they had served a bigger portion. This was honestly just a snack for me, although it is super cheap at about 700 800 yen. And so because of that, I just couldn't feel the texture and the beef scent. It was almost as if I had to enjoy more of the rice, which was good. This place being known for their hormone, I would have wanted to try that. So that's just one thing that I really missed. So if I come back, I would get the hormone, make sure I get a good portion. But I want to say gyudon might not live up to the hype. Next is another store with a really long line where you can get really umami Tamago-yaki. It's called Yamacho. They serve these sweet, savory egg omelette skewers. The omelette has dashi broth in it, so it has a really deep scent. There's also plenty of sugar in there, so it's almost like a nice dessert meal. On one side they sell takeout, and on the other side they sell fresh grilled omelette just for 200 yen per skewer. I first want to note the perfect texture. It's incredibly soft, juicy, and fluffy, but it actually wouldn't break down. The sweetness is perfect, not overly sweet, and the bonito dashi soup kind of complements the sweetness and makes the sweetness very sophisticated. It's really a perfect snack with protein and some sweetness and a lot of richness, and it's definitely worth the wait. My last stop is Onigiri Marutoyo, located Towards the entrance of the outer market, this place also has a really long line. They are known for their onigiri or rice balls, but I got the information that their tuna maki is also just as good. So that's what I got today. Once you open the fridge, there's a bunch of fresh tuna maki, 6 pieces in each set for 648 yen. You can see the really generous tuna filling surrounded by a thin layer of rice and nori. From what I can tell, the tuna is comprised of akami or the red meat, and I think the negitoro, which makes the meat texture a lot softer. But the truth is that both types of tuna are incredibly fresh and soft. Even though each piece is really big, the whole thing just kind of melts and just goes down really smoothly. Obviously, there's less fat than the Toro nigiri I tried earlier, so I think this is a nice complement to that. You're not really gonna get tired of this, and because this is an onigiri shop, their rice, each grain is very crisp and very well defined. I saw a lot of locals also eating next to me in this little tabletop behind the store. In fact, this is my second time coming here and I was even more impressed today. Their other onigiri might be good too, but I certainly recommend this for sure. So that concludes my honest review of the Tsukiji outer market. As with any market, there will be some stores that are a little overrated, but I think the fun is trying to find the real gem, which I hope you got to see today. While the Toyosu has a bigger market for wholesale, I still really like this rustic atmosphere of the old Tsukiji market, and I hope they continue to thrive. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please feel free to leave comments on what you thought of these shops if you visited them, or if I missed any hidden gem that I should go next time. See you next time.